Internet spotters, welcome to our lovely After Dark program. It's been a long while, but here we are. We just got out of it, and no clowning around. It was fantastic. I think a lot of stuff worked. I'm not familiar with the book, but I did watch the Tim Curry version of it, and I thought what they did was amazing, and I thought that, there was a little bit of like goofiness and silliness with Pennywise, but other than that, I thought this was a pretty solid film.
He's a clown.
Well, yeah, I think that this definitely is in my top tier films of the year so far. Yeah. Kids were great. All the acting was good with all the Losers Club, yeah. So I think that this was a pretty damn impressive film. I'm kind of in ecstasy because it was just the progression and the burn throughout the whole thing, it really, no pun intended, it really kindled throughout, and it was great. Sparks were flying. It's an amazing film. Go check it out. I don't think you have much options this weekend.
Inhumans.
Yeah, you can go watch the Inhumans on IMAX theaters all across the country. Get it while you can. I hear they're kind of clearing them out.
What?
Well, you can go ahead and watch the Inhumans on IMAX.
IMAX screens.
Right.
What'd you guys think? Peter, wait, first, Peter.
Okay.
Peter, what did you think about it? I'm dying to know what you thought of it.
I really liked it. I really did. I don't think it was scary. I love scary movies. And I watch a lot, and I'm easily spooked. I never found it scary, but like, that's okay. I thought it was a really well-made movie. They were smart to really focus on the characters and the story about
all the kids.
Pennywise was always more of sort of a metaphor for becoming an adult, sort of. As a child, facing those fears, realizing that the world isn't as cushy as you thought it was.
Yeah, there's no sugarcoating or anything.
So I'm really glad they leaned into that. You didn't get much Pennywise, but when he was there, he was great. I thought Skarsgård did a really awesome job.
Yeah, and to follow up another performance such as what Tim Curry did.
Who's your god, by the way?
I think, yeah. All hail the mighty Tim Curry.
I would probably compare it to like when Heath Ledger's took over Jack Nicholson for Another Clown. Where it's like, okay, this is, for the longest time, I remember before The Dark Knight came out, everyone's like, Jack Nicholson's Joker is so iconic. How can another person come in and do it? But
then look at what Heath Ledger did. He completely turned that role into its head, and that's what Skarsgård did, and I think that you definitely get a little bit of his silliness, but it was more of an intimidating silliness that Skarsgård did versus Tim Curry. Tim Curry, that is a great way to look at it, with Jack Nicholson and him performing as the Joker. Jack Nicholson played it more silly, played it more for laughs, and that was pretty much the performance that you got from Nicholson versus you have the more serious aspect with Heath Ledger, and that's what you get with Skarsgård.
Yeah, I would agree. There's minor issues here and there, but it's just a really, if I could compare it to another film, sort of, that recently came out, is something like Krampus, where it's it delves into horror aspects, but it's not necessarily a horror movie. It's just the story happens to have a scary fucking clown. And it revolves around this coming of age story between these kids and, you know, very classic Stephen King, Stand By Me, and
I felt all the vibes of Stand By Me, all these coming of age movies like Goonies and shit like that.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was really well made, and yeah.
The music.
I'm looking forward to the music was really well done. I noticed that right away.
The music is really good.
And that's what I noticed too. It's like, okay, with the music, they're not playing this as a straight up horror film. Because the music never screamed like horror movie music to me. Like, oh.
Yeah,
doing those like weird noises and. Well, you know what I mean. They do weird shit with horror music. It was very adventurous music. I'll put it that way. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, it felt very like I would compare it to like Jerry Goldsmith or something like that. Like almost whimsical, but with like a more sinister edge to it.
What about you, Alexis?
I thought it was a very good movie. I agree with Peter. First of all, this movie was so well made on virtually every level. It was endlessly entertaining and enjoyable. Although I do struggle to kind of call this necessarily, it wasn't that scary.
It wasn't really a horror.
I was okay. You're the horror expert here, and you're not saying it's a horror movie. That's a separate thing for me, anyway. Even though there are a lot of like disturbing and horrifying things that do happen in this movie, I wasn't necessarily frightened, and I don't know how to feel about that.
Like there were like a few jump scares throughout the whole thing, but because it was the film as a whole is done so well, that I could get by that cliche.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like this movie was so good. I mean, let's just put it there. All of our characters, we always talk about how it's so hard to find really good child actors. Yeah, I think all of them stood out.
These kids were fucking amazing.
They were great. Awesome. I mean, they had great comedic timing. They felt like real kids. And you honestly, and you like all of them.
And like they cuss and stuff like that. Like, you know, like they talk the way that kids do, like their mannerisms. I love the individual personalities with all the other kids. And
I love how they all just come together. Like it really just kind of happens naturally. I would say though, and I'm not sure if this is a negative, but it's not because he's also in that other thing. But you guys did get like kind of like a Stranger Things vibe to the dynamic of those kids to that show.
To be fair, Stranger Things is inspired by
like Stephen King's
works, including it and other stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's always difficult like that when there's a movie that's inspired by something, comes out, it's a big hit, and then that original thing comes out, and people are like, oh, it's aping this, but it's not really because that thing inspired it.
It's not exactly the same thing, though. That's what I liked.
It's not.
I like they had their own unique dynamic, and they all were really strong.
That kid actor, he did not play the same kid he did in
the
Stranger
guy.
Things.
Oh no,
it's a completely different kid.
That was one of my fears too. It's like,
like
they do it just because he's in Stranger Things, people will like him. It's like, no,
he's a completely different character. Like he's more reserved in Stranger Things versus here. He's like saying fuck this and he's he really has a potty mouth.
Yeah, and he's a little Cartman.
Yeah, it's amazing all the dynamic, and you believe that these kids have been friends for a while. You know, and even when the new kids come into their little circle, you
come in or run in,
well,
really
get beaten
into, just dropped like a fly in the middle of
And I thought like some of the effects were great too. Like when you see him coming out of that projector screen, I guess that was a good effect. I really liked the whole haunted house when they were in that haunted house bit. That was great.
They go old school spooky house with it. A lot of the times.
They do like the whole turning of the head with the clown doll, and the something that struck me visually was when they were in the sewer, and I saw what was her name?
Molly. Not Molly, Beverly.
Beverly. When Beverly looked up for the first time at the kids circling around, what a striking image that was. You know, so I think that a lot of... all I could say is that this movie was well made in terms of, like, cinematography and all that. And I like how, like, it was, like, well lit, even though, like, it's supposed to be, like, something spooky, because there could have been, like, toned down the... Batman v Superman it and completely like turned down the color, but somehow they had color in there, and it was a really good movie. That's all I could say.
I think you're trying to say visually. It
was very striking. Yeah,
they really went into creating some disturbing and spooky but beautiful looking imagery within the film. I like going back to like you don't know how to feel about it. You're not being like that scared. I'm okay with it. It kind of reminds me of like Ghostbusters, even though Ghostbusters is a comedy. Yeah, they have a lot of like stuff that's sort of played for scares a little bit and ghosts, and it's like it's entertaining, but it's not scary.
Like for example,
Gremlins you could throw in there too.
I could go to the first scene in Ghostbusters when that librarian is running away from that ghost. That was very suspenseful. That's a way to open the movie, and that's kind of throughout the whole entire movie. I
don't mind it that it wasn't scary. In fact, it's more of an afterthought at this point because I enjoyed the movie so much. At the end of the day, I felt like this had so much heart and passion. Technically speaking, into the film, there was so much put into it that it's not really a negative or a complaint. I just was expecting more of a...
straight up horror.
Exactly, that's what I was expecting. I'm not disappointed. I actually quite enjoyed it.
I want to see more from this director. I don't know what he has done in the past.
He directed Mama.
He doesn't know what that is.
Do you know what that is?
No, what is it?
Produced by Guillermo del Toro. That's more straight up horror. It's okay, you'll see it eventually.
Yeah.
Another win by New Line Cinema. Been on a streak lately.
We're not mentioning another.
No other production company.
Well, they're not really producing. They're distributing. That's a difference.
No other distributing company.
No.
Okay. I loved how mysterious they made Pennywise.
Yeah, there was a lot of like
they really didn't explain much at all.
No, and I think on some level I do like that because there's just so much mystery to him. Like, okay, how can he be everywhere at once, or how does he travel? Like, what powers does he have?
They look to this.
But don't worry, that distributor you were mentioning will one day say, let's have an origin story about how he was, like, I don't know, in his 20s and in the 1980s. Oh, but this was in the 1980s. Oh, I guess there went your movie. And we'll have Martin Scorsese do that too.
Oh my God. I wonder what you're referencing.
So.
To be fair, they do dive into it in the second half.
That is true, but they don't give anything away completely. They dive into a little bit more, but it's never like revealed behind the curtain.
And I actually mean the second movie. Chapter 2.
Oh, okay.
And I like that kind of little hint at the end that because it said chapter 1. And then I'm like, okay, that was kind of a teaser that another one is coming, and I wonder who they're gonna cast as the
adults.
They
better do a good job because part of me is just kind of bummed that we're not getting these kid actors back.
That's my main thing too. It's like I'd like to see them back.
Come back in 20 years and film them.
Yeah,
well. It's actually 27 years. Ooh. Every 27 years, and it's like, why 27 years? Is he an alien? Why were they floating? Why do they all float down there? We need to know. It must be answered.
I'm sure the Brothers Warner is on that.
Do you have any more thoughts on it?
I love the ending.
Yeah. Oh, really? Mm-hmm. What did you love about it?
Spoilers? Can I throw that out there now?
Yeah.
The way, I guess just visually, I think it's cool. Because it is supposed to be something that manifests your worst fears. And when they're all beating him up and he's like going from each of their fears, trying to scare them.
And they overcome them.
And they just kind of overcome him. So yeah, I thought the clown, Bill Skarsgård, it was endlessly entertaining. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
We got a lot less than I thought, actually, of him. And kind of bummed. I would have liked to see a little bit more.
But I think that's kind of like the point of it.
Yeah.
Because the main character of it isn't it. It's really the kids.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also part of what makes the character have a lasting impression. Didn't you see that in the movie Star Wars, they only show Darth Vader for approximately
like 10 minutes
of the whole
and that's
film.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you're like, wow, I want to know more about him.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
then
we can have a It prequel trilogy and see how he became It.
You mean the It cinematic universe?
Actually, you think that's a joke.
I hate sewers.
You think no. You think that's a joke, but this film is connected in a way to the Dark Tower. In fact, all of the vast majority of Stephen King's novels are connected in a way to the Dark Tower, because the Dark Tower is all about like going through different alternate universes. And yeah, almost all his works are connected or have some hints or cameos from his Dark Tower series. But that kind of went out the window after that movie came out. So.
All right.
You kid, but if the Dark Tower was a hit, they would have tried to start a universe.
But that's Sony.
And who distributed this film?
Warner Brothers.
There we go. Sony made the Dark Tower?
Yeah.
Really?
Explains.
Because there was a cameo in the Dark Tower. There was a giant Pennywise the Clown sign.
Sony distributed that film. Okay. It was Sony Films. Pascal Pictures.
Who knows then? They could have created a Spider-Man type deal. All I know is I really liked this film.
Yeah,
I really liked it too.
It was a little different than I expected, but I think it's different in a good way.
It's definitely in my top 5.
What a crowd! What a turnout!
Yeah. Dude, like seriously, it was a good turnout. I was actually surprised.
It's historic. It's epic.
No, there's a shit ton of people here. There is.
Yeah, there was, and especially coming.
I like that.
Especially coming out of the damn you. Especially coming out of the theater, and we saw like a long ass line, and people are still piling in. I think they're still piling in now.
I think this thing's cracking 60 million.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect this turnout. I mean, I expected a crowd.
60 million tonight?
Not tonight.
No,
the weekend. The line that was like outside was. I wasn't expecting that at all.
I don't know. We'll see the kind of line for that for Star Wars.
Yeah, but for like it, wow.
I don't know. I mean, we usually see those kind of lines for Marvel movies, like big Marvel movies, and then Star Wars films. But for something like it, yeah, this movie's going to make quite the impression. I think it's for sure one of the better movies this year.
Yeah,
one of the best of the summer. I'm not sure if we can count this as the summer box office anymore, or
no.
It's already over.
Summer's
This is
over.
the fall season already.
It's the
And
first
you know
of
what?
the fall.
That's actually another good thing, because it's fall movies are kind of like what February and January are in the later part of the month, the part of the year.
I don't know.
That's not true, because that's where all the Oscar bait films come out.
Yeah.
They have all these big movies.
Honestly, right now, I'm seeing it just as many, if not more, good sort of blockbuster films coming out from now until December than the summer.
It's going to be an interesting September. September usually is a dry month, but this time we have
next week.
It and then Kingsman.
Yeah.
The Secret
Mother.
Golden Circle. Mother too.
If you're into the Lego shit,
Ninjago Lego movie.
Yeah.
And then in October we have Blade Runner. And some other thing.
I think that's November.
Is it November? I thought it was October.
October is Unfriended. How could you forget?
November, though, is going to be a huge month.
Yeah.
We have, like, what, 3 or 4 big ones?
Mm-hmm. Thor, Justice League, and some other movie, probably. And then December we have Star Wars, and that's it.
They own that month at this
point. They do. Anyway, final thoughts, gentlemen.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. I think it does have some issues here and there.
What were the issues?
First of all, they all realize we gotta stick together. And then afterwards, at least 2 or 3 of them split off on their own. Like you said,
horror movie shit.
At the end, what happened with the floating people?
Yeah, that's kind of like, okay, bye.
They made it known that they were falling back to the ground, but then it's like,
okay,
I guess we won't stick around and see what's up with them. Are they dead? They said they weren't dead because Beverly wasn't dead.
So what happened there?
Yeah, there has to be a scene that was cut for some reason that explains that. I think that is kind of an issue. The pacing, because early on it's like you're introduced to a kid, he gets scared by Pennywise. Like you could kind of see it, but then I kind of understood it. It's little things here and there, but overall, really enjoyable. I don't know if it's in my top 10 this year. I gotta go back and look at that. I think it's gonna be fun looking at our list because I think we might have some pretty different lists. This year.
For sure.
I agree with Peter.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Check out our other After Darks on the YouTubes, and then check out our podcasts every Sunday, and then check out our To the Tables, our new segment, in case you guys only watch these.
Coming out tomorrow.
Watch To the Table. We have a new one coming out every Wednesday and Friday. And it's a series where either one of us exchange movies that we have not seen, and we review it and talk about it and all that shit, and why they wanted us to watch it. Right. And
don't forget about the podcast coming up is going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, and then we have our we're finishing up the Star Wars audio commentaries. We already have Empire, which is 100% more crunch, according to Peter. You'll see 70%. You'll see why when you listen to it. So check out podcast.com, check out iTunes, and without further ado, I'm Kyle Lira. This is Alexis. This is Peter. Check you guys out under the spotlight. Bye.